Hi y'all, this is Pam at Pink Dragonfly Wings, and I am coming with you today to do my very first YouTube video. I am so excited. I have been watching YouTube videos forever, but I've never worked up enough nerve to make my own. So today is the day. Last week I was watching, I follow Pam on Paper Outpost, and she does some awesome things. So go check her YouTube channel out and see what you think. But I was watching a video of hers last week, and she made these antique lace collage journaling cards. And so I watched, and I thought, oh my gosh, those are so darn cute. I have to make one, or 10, or 20, or more. I don't know. They're just precious. So I decided I would use that for my first video today. So here we go with my interpretation of an antique lace collage journaling card. Now, the way I started was, I started with a piece of plain 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. It can be heavier, it can be manila folder, it can be cereal box, it can be the backing of a notebook that you have, whatever you have around that is a little thicker than paper. And it's just going to add a little sustenance, a little bit to our card to make it a little heavier and a little more heavier weight. Now this paper is not special. It's not expensive. I bought it at Walmart. It's just what I'd call about maybe 65-pound lightweight cardstock. This one happens to be a brand new piece because that's what I had. But if you have one that has ink on it, or you use it as a backing for something and you want to use that, go for it, because we're going to cover the whole thing, so you're not going to see anything on the inside. Now, the first thing I did is I took that card and I cut it in half both ways. So I cut it in half this way, and I cut it in half this way. And it gave me 4 equally sized cards. Now, I'm going to put these other 3 away because we just need one right now. This is my page. This is my glue page that I use to keep glue from getting on my stuff. So I had a copy of The Fellowship of the Ring, which is a big popular book around our house, and it was falling apart, and it had lost so many pages already. So I decided I'll use this one. It fits the size card I chose perfectly, so it will work great. Now, the first thing that I do is decide kind of where I want my card. I want the text to go as close to the edge as I can, and it looks like this one is going to be pretty darn close. So I'm going to turn it over, even it up. I don't measure. I don't get things straight. I just fly by the seat of my pants. Get my pencil. I'm going to make a little mark in this corner and a little mark in this corner. Like I said, I don't measure anything, so once I know that's right, that'll give me an idea of where to place my card. Get my glue stick. I don't use expensive glue sticks. I don't know. We live in a very rural part of Colorado, very small town, kind of a touristy town, and we don't have anything here but a Walmart. And so I buy what Walmart has. And I like these little purple glue sticks because it shows me that I've gotten my ink everywhere I need it to be. So I use that. When I get all the glue on, make sure it goes all the way to the edge. It's completely covered. Get my book page back out here. Very carefully put it right back in those marks that I made on the page and hand ironed it down. Now I hand iron it at first just to make sure that I've got it where I want it. And then I use my little deal here to burnish the edges so that that glue gets pushed all the way out to the edge. You want those edges definitely glued so they don't come off later. We don't want uppy-uppies coming up on the edge of our card after it dries. Now I'm cutting off this little bitty piece off of the bottom just because I don't want it to be quite that thick. And that makes it about the same all the way around. And we have a nice smooth surface. Okay. Now then, I take my scissors and I cut the corners of these. I'm not sure what angle it is, but I just cut it like that on each of the 4 corners. And what that does is it removes some of the bulk in the corner so that when I get ready to turn my pages down, the edges of the page down, they're not quite so thick. So I have all those done. And get my glue stick again, and I'm just going to do the edges here, top, here, and the bottom. And I forgot my little glue page, but that's okay. Going to fold this in like this and fold it over. Finger burnish. Do the other side. Fold it over. Finger burnish. Do the bottom. Finger burnish. And do the top. And finger burnish. Then I will do a little on with my burnishing tool just to make sure those edges are crisp and the glue is stuck down all the way to the edge. So this is how it looks on the front. This is how it looks on the back. We're not going to worry about this too much because we're going to cover it up. Now, what I decided to cover it up with is I have some coffee dyed paper. This is just sort of a tan hammer mill paper. And my grandson took a squirt bottle full of coffee, really strong coffee, and squirted it. And I came out with some really neat designs on it. So, thank you, Chance, for my beautiful coffee dyed paper. Now I'm going to fold it in half this way. Burnish with my finger. Fold it in half this way. Burnish with my finger. And I end up with this paper folded in quarters. Okay? So each one of these is going to be the same exact size as our cardstock. But we don't want it to be the same size as our cardstock. We want the edges to show a little bit. So we're going to, you can do what you want to. You can leave them straight and just put them in your cutter and cut the edges off just a little bit. You can tear it, use a paper tearer and just tear it, or however you want to decorate is fine. But I'm going to use these little deckled scissors that I've had for 100 years. And I'm going to very carefully just go down the side. I do not cut them one at a time. I cut all 4 pages at the same time. They don't have to be exactly the same. They just need to be a little smaller than they were. We're going to cut a little bit off of all 4 sides. There we go. One more side. And you cut off as much or as little as you want to cut. It's your journaling card. So you do it the way you want to do it. Get rid of my little dribblings. Now I have 4 pages of paper. So I'm going to take one of them put it on here just to kind of size it up, make sure everything looks good, doesn't need any trimming. That looks perfect. We might trim a little bit off of this corner down here. Like I said, nothing I do is ever straight, so we'll do a little extra. Okay? Now, the next step is to ink the edges of our card. Now, a lot of people don't like to ink, and that's fine. If you don't want to, you can skip this step. If you want to use colored ink, that is perfectly okay. I'm just making making it look vintage, so I wanted it to be brown. So I'm using my Vintage Photo Brown ink and just going around the edges. Now, I have been scrapbooking and journal making for many years, 25 or more. And I have found everybody has their own way of inking. So you do what suits you, what's comfortable for you. This is just the way I do it. And I ink most everything because I just like the inked edges. It gives a definite border and edge, and I like that look. So that's what I do. That doesn't mean you have to. Now we'll set that aside, and we're going to ink our paper as well. So kind of like this side, I think. So I'm going to ink up again and go around the edges of our paper. Now, I will tell you, I use these little domed ink daubers, and these little deckled edges play havoc with those little foam daubers, and they get little pieces of foam coming off sometimes. It's not a big deal, not a problem. When it gets too bad, I just snip it off, make it even again until there's nothing else to snip off, and then I get a new dauber. But you want to be aware of it simply because if it gets on your paper, you want to brush it away so that the other side of your card doesn't get those little ink spots on it. Unless you want them on it, then you can certainly do that. So we have a little edge here. So see, we have a nice little frame around our paper, and it's going to look really cute. So get our glue stick again. Here we go again. Let me get my glue paper this time. And we're going to glue all the way around. Again, we don't want any uppy ups coming up when our paper dries, our glue dries, and it starts coming up in the center. It might make it a little difficult for your recipient to write on. So we want to make this as smooth as we can. Put it on your little card and center it where you want it. Let's scoot it down just a little bit. And then finger iron it down. Now I've got a little glue seeping out from right here, so I always keep a napkin or something handy so I can wipe that off, because I don't want it getting on the front of my card. That's okay. There we go. One more little burnish with our burnishing tool. Like I said, we want our pages to be even and flat and pretty. A smooth writing surface. Okay, so there we go. There's our card. Have the print on the front, the writing journal part on the back. Now comes the fun part, because we get to decorate it. And this is the fun part. This is cool. Let me put my glue stick back on. So there we go. Now then, in the video that I watched, lace was used. And I have bukus of lace because, one, I love lace, and two, I love sparkle. So glitter and gems and all that kind of stuff, they're my friend. So I bought some lace by the yard, and I cut it up. And I made this little piece here, and I thought, oh, that's really pretty. And I wanted it to fit so that these little scallops down here at the bottom hang off. So I thought, wow, that'll be really pretty. It's sort of a beige color, so it blends in with the colors of the paper. And so we'll start with that and see where we go. Now then, I use Fabri-Tac, and I keep it in these little Sweet Belle icing bottles because they have this little nib here, and it's a real narrow nib, so it lets me control the amount of glue that I can put out on something. And when I'm working with lace, I really like that little nibbing. So we'll put some glue on there, position where we want it, and then we'll lay it down and tack. Let it seep in. Now this glue dries very quickly, but it is forgiving. So if you kind of get it a little off, you can move it for just a few minutes after you put it on there, and it works just fine. So there we have our first layer of lace. Now we need something up here at the top, just so that it'll give some definition. Now I have several kinds of lace. I have this little lace, but sometimes these little dainty filigree type laces get lost in the bunch, so that makes them a little more difficult to see. Now we have this. That would be pretty. We could do that one. I like that. I like that. It gives us a little bit more dimension, so let's use that one. All right. So we're going to turn this back around. We're going to glue again in the same spot because it's going to go right over the top. But when we put that first layer of lace on, it took up a lot of the glue that was on there. So we're going to put another layer of glue on top of it. And let's see, get our right side here. And then I want that little center one to be in the center. And then we'll cut it. Doesn't matter to me that this lace is sticking up, this is sticking down. This is supposed to be old, so it's seen its better day. We'll cut that off. Cut a little off here on the edge. We can even this up just a little bit. Make it at least a little even. Alrighty. It's looking cute, looking cute. What do y'all think? Now then, we need something else. Now, I have a whole bunch of little doilies. I buy doilies from Donna Little. She also has a YouTube store. Check her out. She has some beautiful, beautiful laces and doilies and things. And so I bought them from her. And we can use this one. This blends very well with this piece, so that's a possibility. We have this one. Now, let me find the right side. That one's just a little bit darker, so it comes in and pulls some of the brown from the edges. I have one like this. This one kind of seems to me to cover up the lace underneath here. So I don't like that one as well for this particular one. So here's another. That one looks kind of cute, but I really think I like this one. I like this one. So what do y'all think about that? Let's go with that one. Okay. We'll put this one over here. We'll put a little bit more lace, glue, Dougie on. I put the glue in the most heavy parts of the crochet, just because the glue does seep just a little bit when you mash it down. I didn't put any up here because I want that part of the doily to kind of hang up a little bit, hang up over the edge. So we'll put that there and glue that down really good. And our little tag is taking shape. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Okay. Now we could also take, I have some of these little bitty teeny tiny toys. We could put one like that. I have some that are a little lighter, and that might look good. That kind of gives us an alternate color scheme going on here. So I kind of like that one. I think we'll put this one on here. And then we'll put some glue around the edge. Put a little extra in that little hole because I think we're going to put something in that little hole. All right, so we're going to try to match these up. So this kind of looks like the center of our flower. You can play with it till you get it like you want it. And then, let's see, what else do I have around here? All kinds of stuff floating around. I have some little buttons. Oh, I have some little pearls. Okay. So we could put a pearl on there. That would be really pretty. And it kind of blends in with the colors that we have. So let's put just a little dibby-dobby of glue in that hole again. These are self-adhesive pearls, but that doesn't always mean they stick to everything forever. So I always put a little dabble of glue under it. And look at that. Look at that. Is that not just the cutest thing you've seen? So pretty. So pretty. Now, if you wanted to, you could ink over some of the top of this lace here because it is so defined, and it would make that stand out a little bit better. I can show you kind of how it's going to look. Just very lightly pull it. And that allows you to see the ridges of the flowers and stuff just a little bit better. You can do that or you don't have to. It's really entirely up to you. Now, their front, I think, is finished. I think we've got enough. We don't want it to be too terribly thick, because if we do get it too thick, it's going to make our journal a gator mouth. We don't want a gator mouth. So, on the back, I have this little doily here. Let's see if I might possibly have another one. That looks like the same kind. No, not necessarily. Let's see if we can find another one in here that kind of looks like that. I think that would work perfectly. And we're going to turn it over. Oh, I don't know that one. That one looks pretty good. Let's do that one. Yeah. It's a different color, but the back doesn't have all of the whites and stuff from the lace on it, so we don't have quite as much color going on. So I think this one, and we want to save as much writing room as we can, so let's just use that one. Put us another little dabble of glue in the hole in the center. And we'll use one of these smaller pearls, and it will fit right down in that hole. Yeah. Right down in that hole. There we go. How's that? Now we have completed our very first YouTube project. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will come back and see me some more. Please check out my online store at pinkdragonflywings.com, and make sure you spell wings with a Z so you get to the right place. You know, I never could do anything by the rules. So, pinkdragonflywings, WINGZ.com. Until next time, keep on crafting, guys. Bye.